welcome to the B Team Podcast. I am your host, Josh Safran, with my co-host,
Matt Mars,
and our permanent guest,
Rob Nelson.
We're here every week to talk to you about all things Bentonville, bourbon, and business. The B Team Podcast. Be here. Welcome to the B Team Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Safran, with my co-host,
Matt Mars, in Rob's seat. I'm in the vacation seat still.
I still am not used to you being next to me. And our permanent guest,
Rob Nelson.
Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
And we are here every Thursday for all things Bentonville business and bourbon. And today we're going to have beer and bourbon. So we're going to add another B to it with a good friend of mine and one of the classiest beer establishments in town, Mr. Chris Spence from the Social Project.
Thanks for having me on.
I'm a huge fan of your product. I love coming in, and I'm not the biggest beer fan, but I really love your beer. So I would normally drink bourbon, but I'm excited for what you're going to bring into us today.
Yeah, thanks. I'm excited to share it too. I think a lot of people that aren't beer people necessarily love our beer. It's all about just trying it and finding one of those. And I have a couple of them here that I think like you'll be like, oh, I know a person that hates beer. They're gonna love this. So
well, then when I was coming in originally the first time, there's things that's like pineapple and coconut. And you're like, come on, and you drink the beer.
That's all the good stuff.
Oh my god, it's pineapple and coconut in a beer. Like you always have these really interesting flavors. And then you ever try the stuff and it goes, it tastes like this, and you go, I don't get it. Like legitimately, if he's promising pineapple and coconut, it's pineapple and coconut in a beer. So people love the different stuff like that.
It's like the Willy Wonka beer. Yeah, it is. Well, and it's kind of like, the whole allocated bourbon craze thing. It's the same with his beer because some of it, like you made it.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
Once that's gone, you'll try to remake it, but it's never, which is cool. So, like you go in there and I remember you had one that I loved and you're like, well, that's this one that
is never coming back.
It may not be around ever again. Well, so it's kind of cool, Yeah.
It's funny because I'm really into bourbon too. And so there's those bottles. You're like, man, if I owned Buffalo Trace, man, my house would be XYZ. And then you make a beer and you get busy and you start selling beer. And the next thing you realize that beer's gone and you never took it home and you don't have it. So like these are my last 2 bottles of barrel aged stout. I don't have any more in my house. I used to have a whole stash of other brewery stuff. You end up not bringing it home, and that's partially because you want to sell it. But you do it to yourself too, which is really funny.
I'm a little nervous because there's a lot of stuff to drink in here today. Good nervous, we're going to be a little shit-faced by the time we're done today, but that's
cool. So before we get in, you want to give us super quick, then we can enjoy the beer and focus on the beer.
Yeah, sure.
How long you've been in business? How long do you want to become? Where you're at, where we know, but
yeah. And actually, y'all may not know totally.
A lot of people wake up and they're like, I want to be a brewer.
Yeah,
I want to open up a brewery.
I don't want to be Michael Brewer.
A brewer.
Oh.
Right, a beer, right? It says with
yeah. Right. Well, I think they say every guy dreams of either or talks about or jokes about or is serious but never actually does it of opening a bar. And I think that transitioned somewhat to a brewery, especially during the 10-year cycle of brewery boom, if you will, from about 2010 to 2020.
Exploded.
Yeah. So basically quick version of the story. So my wife and I met at the University of Arkansas. I graduated 2012, went to work for Jamie Hutt. I always liked craft beer, even maybe a little bit before I turned 21.
Shocker.
Not at University of Arkansas. That doesn't happen.
Woo pig. Shout out to U of A.
Yeah. Well, there's more bigger party schools out there, but so I've kind of always loved craft beer. And when I was here through 2015, before I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, I'll be honest, there wasn't that many breweries. The laws here sucked. So no breweries outside the area really sent anything in. So I would drive, I still think about it to this day, how funny it is. But I would drive up to Pineville to go to the Macadoodles to get actually good beer because there was nothing here. And now I remember it being so far. Of course, I lived in Fayetteville at the time. Now I'm like, it's just right there.
Yeah. But it's funny though, because it was a dry county for a long time. And we used to have to drive to, I think you get over into Missouri, all of a sudden it's liquor store, Walmart, and then Macadoodles.
Now there's a weed store there too.
Yeah.
So, it's always, and so it's really funny how they just have everything dotted there. But yeah, so I moved to Nashville, and the beer scene just exploded there. Within about 6 months of me moving there, so multiple really good small breweries opening up, doing very similar to what we do. We kind of pulled, different things from each of those breweries that we really loved and were influenced by. So you had like Southern Grist there that opened with basically the same size system that we have and opened with. They're definitely bigger now. And then you had Bearded Iris that was a little bit bigger than we were, and they had a huge facility with a lot of funding, so they were always going to be bigger. But they started small scale, especially for the first year. And so, you kind of had Grist was the crazy brewery that did all the crazy stouts, all the crazy sours, stuff you never heard of. And then Iris was all about hazies and just pushing these crazy hazies, which actually their whole thing was cultivate variety. And they were going to do all these things, and they became a hazy brewery. So go figure. But sometimes you open a business and you find out what your customers want, and you got to pivot to what they want and what you're good at. So we always open with the idea of we want good lagers. We're not going to mess with lagers. We're going to brew good traditional lagers, as many as we can. But that means we're going to give them a lot of time. So we don't have very many lagers. We always have at least one, sometimes two. And then we're going to do a ton of hazies and a ton of sours. And luckily that really stuck. And we do new releases every single week. Every Friday we drop a new release. Sometimes it's a repeat of something we did the year before. But I think we're up, I don't even track it anymore, but 160, 170 unique beers. We'll be open 3 years in September. So we opened September 2021. Thank you very much.
That's a big deal.
They always say getting to the 3 year mark is the big thing. And we've been through all our ups and downs and crazies, and there's so many good and bad stories to tell and learn so many things. And I think year one, I beat myself up for all the stuff that happened. And then you get to a point where you're like, you just learn from it, you get better, and I think you got to kind of do that. But yeah, so we're in Bentonville, southwest Bentonville, right by the community center, right off Regional Airport Boulevard. And then we do have a second location in Springdale, in downtown Springdale.
Oh,
so
nice.
really cool up-and-coming development. A lot of people really don't realize that. We're really trying to pull a lot out of Fayetteville from that location. But there's a lot of really cool developments going on. Onyx is going to be building a bean to bar chocolate facility along with a coffee shop there. Hilton's going to be putting in a Tapestry hotel with a cocktail bar. There's another bar that's coming there, plus some of the older establishments like Odd Soul that are there. Really cool area that people just don't know about. So we really always try to get the word out, but we're excited to be a part of that area and be a part of that community as well as Bentonville.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah. I love it. I haven't been to the Springdale place. The Bentonville one is awesome. A great location. How are you dividing your time between both? It's hard to be in two locations.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
He's like, well, we're about out of time.
I don't have enough time to talk about it, honestly. Sometimes I'm like, why did I do that to myself? But no, what is really good is that my head brewer is insanely amazing and insanely efficient and doesn't need me for anything from his perspective and back of house.
That's great.
Of course, we're talking about different beers we want to make, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, and we do have a lot of communication. But when it comes down to the brewing part of it and knowing we're going to have so much beer, like, I don't have to worry about it.
That's nice.
And then I'm lucky in that I think on average our bartenders make really good money for compared to probably really anybody else in that same position. And so we have very little turnover, especially with our like longer 4 or 5 shifts a week employees. So I've got a girl that's been there since month 3, and she's still there, and she works 5 days a week. And she basically operates it, and rarely do I need to do anything to make Bentonville run. So it's just the amount of times I have to go to Springdale a week, and I happen to live in Bentonville. So, with the traffic, because it always happens, it's 5 p.m. something's happening. So now I have to deal with the traffic going to Fayetteville to go to Springdale.
Are you brewing in Bentonville and then shipping to?
Yeah. So we have all our beers brewed in Bentonville, and then we just bring it down to Springdale. The menus do switch some because we'll have a beer that's gone in Bentonville that's down there, or vice versa. So there is some diversity there, but you'll have a lot of similarities as well. There's a few more taps there as well.
Can you do any wholesales? Can we find your beer?
Yeah. So we're all the way from Bentonville down to Fort Smith. We got places Bentonville, Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, and Fort Smith. We're also Eureka Springs as well.
You're on tap at Shannon Valley.
Not on tap. but I don't even think they do tap anymore. I'm pretty sure they pulled the tap system off, but they do cans now. So yeah, we have cans there. They do a lot of Rivers and Roads at Shadow Valley.
We're gonna taste all these too, right?
Yeah,
Do you work with our buddy? We had him on the podcast, Tony over at Trailhead.
Yes. Yeah. So Tony's really cool.
Tony.
Shout out to Tony.
Yeah, Tony.
He's looking like for this kind of stuff he was selling us.
So I brought him this today.
Okay.
I know they're super excited about that. Yeah. Tony and Dan. I've met Dan before. They've been one of our best accounts since they opened up. They're great people.
They are great
They
people.
care about beer, right?
Yeah.
They sell a lot of Busch Latte. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they also sell a lot of really good local beers.
Me and him were the same person. We both like Busch Latte.
But he's actually, and I'm sure you'll surpass it, but he's our number one viewed podcast since the beginning.
Behind Jenny, but that doesn't count.
No, he was ahead of Jenny.
Really?
Yeah, he's ahead of her.
He's ahead of.
Did he ride on her coattails at all? Or
No,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, he predates.
Yeah, he predated.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, we have empty glasses though, so that's
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
that-
All right.
As amazing as this is,
So-
let's start with bourbon.
Yeah, so
I say we start with beer. Forget the bourbon.
we can start with beer. I think
I
that's the way
say,
to do it.
I want to start
Right
with
to beer?
Yeah.
All right.
So I brought y'all a couple things. And if y'all want, instead of having to put it in the Glencairn, there is a little taster glass in there that we can use for the beer. And then there's an outdoor cup in there that we do a different one every summer. Those are dishwasher safe. They don't break.
These would be great poolside.
Yes. Yeah, they don't break and they're dishwasher safe. And basically nothing that's like that is dishwasher safe, which is why I love that.
Too.
Yeah, so those are ball markers because our biggest event every year is the Masters.
Yeah.
Design that logo, do a lot of really cool merch. We bring in a full-on simulator and everything. So, but we'll start with Rivers and Roads. So, like we talked about, a lot of our beer comes and goes. Rivers and Roads is our one permanent beer that we have year-round, and it never goes anywhere.
I see it's hazy.
It is a single hazy IPA.
I love a good hazy IPA.
This is one that's always at the Jen's place, and it always is highly requested.
I'll let y'all pour your own beer.
So, I'm not a huge IPA guy,
Yeah.
but are there
Differences in IPAs?
Are there for beginner? I
Yeah.
Delicious.
So,
and I may love this, but
before
it tastes like weeds for me.
So before you even taste it or smell it,
Okay.
what do you not like about IPA outside of the
tastes
fact
like
that it tastes like
weeds.
weed?
That's
Yeah.
it.
Okay. So what we would call is bitter piney resinous. That is a West Coast IPA. That is what basically carried and developed the entire craft beer boom, which is why people know IPAs as that. However, there was a second boom of IPAs called hazy IPAs. And everything about hazies are basically completely different than the IPAs you're describing. Juicy, citrus, stone fruit, tropical,
Stone
a bit
fruit.
sweet.
This is good.
Hey,
Stone fruit.
Well, and what's crazy is if I see, I hate to say this, but if I see IPA, I'm just like, I'm not getting
This
it.
is good.
This doesn't taste like what I tasted.
it's a fruitier.
Yeah, it's good.
That's really
Yeah, not at all. We make some West Coast IPAs. We've done a few like Dinker hazies here and there. But I mean, we get it all the time. Somebody walks in and they're like, "Well, I don't really know beer. The only thing I know is that I don't like IPAs." And we're like, "Well, can we have you blind taste things?" And they'll end up tasting a triple and a sour, and they'll pick the triple. And they're like, "What is that?" It's a triple hazy IPA. And they're like, "What?" You're like, yeah. You just got to open your mind because IPA basically just means a lot of hops, right? And so the old school West Coast, you throw it on the hot side, you get those bitter piney notes.
But this is your number one seller, right? This is like
it's
this
good.
is the one.
It's solid.
Yeah. I mean, it's and that's kind of our go to market with our size. We can't have very many flagships, especially in the weekly releases.
Sure.
So this is the one that we feel extremely confident in our hazies, and that I mean,
That's solid.
there's a lot of great breweries
I
here.
love the
But
picture and all that you put on there too.
You guys do all your own artwork.
yeah, we do all our own. In
Is that the
fact,
Buffalo River?
that is the Upper Buffalo. Yeah,
Looks like that face right there.
and you can see on the bottom right, they're on so those are Polaroids. I mean, it's a kind of almost story in that.
awesome.
But David Derry is on there. That's the photographer. His Instagram's arkansas.wanderlust. Takes a lot of incredible photography. And he basically let us use that basically for free. I think we traded him a case of beer to be able to use that.
That's the best.
It was free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Really.
Yeah.
that's world class right there.
Well, I know Rob loves IPA, and loves
especially
that kind of a beer.
Yeah,
but I didn't ever know I liked it until now.
That's good.
But so what's there between a hazy, a double hazy, and a triple hazy? I know you're going to get into that.
Yeah.
This is way above my understanding level.
So it's a little bit variable. It's not like bourbon where like it has to be made here with X, In order to be a beer, it has to be at least 51% grain, like malt and things like that. And really the only other thing that you would use is corn, so it can't be 51% corn. I mean, that's pretty much just in like light lagers, Mexican lagers. Single, double, triple generally refers to ABV for sure. There's a little bit of range in what it can be, a double or a triple or a single. Our singles really drink more like most people's doubles. They're a little bit higher. A lot of singles are 6%. This is 7%. But it's not in that 8 range, so you're still getting that really nice, like, heavier body to it and that heavier flavor.
It's super
but it's still
light.
somewhat easy drinking.
Like it's heavy at all.
Well, it's that hazy citrus, really.
Yeah, because a lot of the higher alcohol content beers this tastes like it's not even a heavy beer.
Yeah.
No.
Good.
And that's, walking that balance for sure. And the higher the sugars, the higher the alcohol, the more hopping you can do. So as you go up to a double and then a triple, you can actually add more hops without it getting like bitter, burny, hop burn is what they'd call it. So you'll generally, most our doubles are dry hopped more than our singles. Most our triples are dry hopped more than our doubles. We have done some like super saturated doubles that are up there with like our biggest triples, but generally that's where you're getting more hops, the higher the ABV, because it can handle
Let's
it.
move on to the next one.
Yeah. So this is honestly one of my favorite that we've done.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
160?
Yeah. And you can see it's bright and colorful. So one thing, I don't know if y'all have noticed by looking at the names here, this is called Time to Pretend. So we just dropped this like 2 weeks ago.
In the spirit world.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for the viewers, right? I mean, that's Spirit World right there. Let's go. Hey, another T-shirt. Spirit World.
We're running out of time for T-shirts.
So most our beers are named after songs. The vast majority of them. In fact, every one here but the lager is named after, well, no, actually the Sunset Tide's not. But everyone but these two are named after songs. And if you go ahead and look at all 14 beers on menu, 12 to 13 of them are going to be named after songs. This is an MGMT song. Rivers and Roads is Head in the Heart song. So we try to think about that and the labels and the beer and kind of forecast everything. But this one it's a triple dry hop. So this is what I would say, this almost pushes the level of what we do in most of our triples. It's got peacherine, which we are the only brewery that has used or gotten any peacherine in Arkansas.
What is peacherine?
It is a brand new hop out of New Zealand. So it's kind of what it sounds like. It's like super juicy peach notes. And there's some other notes in there. We basically had to beg the hop company that has it in New Zealand for it. And I kept asking, I kept bugging them. Finally, they were like, hey, we randomly found this 44-pound box that we happen to have. And I was like, send it. I didn't know the price. I'm like, I don't want to know. And then I got the invoice. I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. This is one of the few times that's been the case with invoices when you don't know the price. Yeah. But and then it's got Rawaka, which is another New Zealand hop. And then it's got Vic Secret, which is an Australian hop. So this is a completely, why am I forgetting? I
do like
New Zealand.
This is more IPA.
It is, but I actually like it better than the first.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So what's interesting,
I think because it's not as sweet. Like it's more sour,
right?
Like it's not as
well. I've had a lot of different craft beers, IPAs. This has a unique flavor I've never tasted before, so maybe it's that.
So do you taste like almost like a white wine and smell it?
The finish of it is like a dryer.
A dryer, yeah.
And I think that's why I like it so much.
It's the volcanic soil that it's growing.
So I'm like a huge gin and and all that. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah,
that finish,
and it's great. Like I've never this I could say is amazing. Oh. And I've had beers similar to it, probably not as good, but this I've never experienced this type of flavor before, which is very, very good. It's different.
I agree.
Yeah, what do you think about it?
I like the first one better.
Okay.
Probably because I've had that so many times. It's like my go-to.
It's our number one seller, so you're not saying anything wrong.
I like this. I love this.
And you're the opposite camp. You like this and love this.
Yeah. If
I was limited, by the way, right?
Between the two,
Yeah. It'll be
the
here.
Spirit World one would be my.
Well, I mean, you're just a Spirit World kind of guy.
No, it has like a good. I don't know. It just tastes like fresh and clean.
Yeah.
Like it's not heavy.
This one has
tastes like
more
you could drink
citrus.
it and you don't get as.
This is more citrus. This is more of a
Buy
IPA. But
Right. Well, I mean, you've got.
I mean,
I don't.
Which one are surprised I like
them,
Let's not.
no, it's not bitter at all. But I mean, we might be converting you today here, man.
It's more IPA. So he likes it, which is odd.
So
All right.
tell us, you're the expert. So tell us, like, what do you like about a beer when you make it, or like, what is your go-to if you pick one?
Yeah, so I think even before we opened the brewery, I really got into learning about hops and what hops I liked, and Bearded Iris taught me a lot about that. Some of my other favorite breweries taught me a lot about that, and then you start using it yourself, and you also find that like times change. So what used to be, at least in our opinion, that the American hops dominated, we think on a primary level that New Zealand hops are basically better than American hops in every way at this day and age. They're so much more vibrant. They're also so much more consistent. And you really don't ever get
because
that
of
a lot.
the climate there or the soil?
Yeah, so they call it Southern Hemisphere hops. So you've got New Zealand and you've got Australian in that. Australia makes a lot of really good hops. Problem is there's a lot of variety in there. There's a lot of, for like every good bag of Vic Secret, there's a bad bag of Vic Secret. So we actually bought that Vic Secret from Bearded Iris, and they handpicked those lots. So that's how I knew it was good. So we don't really use Vic Secret unless I can buy it from somebody that picks their own lots, because I don't trust it on the spot market. Whereas I've never once gotten a bad bag of New Zealand, anything from New Zealand, and so it just fits our flavor profile. It also is so much more unique than anything else. You're going to get a lot of like citrus and grapefruit from American hops, which is what you're going to realize on a lot of beers around here, where our whole thing is being different.
Yeah.
And it just, our flavor profile, me personally, our brewers, that's what we love. So that's what we've trended towards. So most of our beers are going to be very heavy on the New Zealand, exclusively New Zealand or Southern Hemisphere.
He is like the Russ of beer.
Yeah.
Like I'm learning so much.
No,
from me.
100%.
So when you're making one of these, and I may be going way off schedule here, but like, can you make a little that, or do you like have to make a big?
So
Like
it's,
when you're practicing,
Yeah.
like is it?
no, I mean, we make a 7-barrel batch every time, which is 200 gallons roughly. And then
So if you mess with that,
If it's bad, you're screwed.
if it's a drain pour, then you're in trouble.
dumping $2,000. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you really hope it doesn't happen. We've only
It has happened, right?
twice. So once wasn't quote unquote because of the beer. So they have these manways. That's how you get in to clean it, and all sorts of other things. Well, on those manways, because it's all steel, the way it seals is a gasket. Turns out the gasket we had stretched, and it started leaking, which means it was letting in oxygen, which means the beer was screwed. So we had to dump it.
God darn it!
Yeah, it sucked. And then,
wasn't
it's
a
not
good
enough
day.
of a thing to file an insurance claim, so you're just out that money. And then we had one that just, I don't even know exactly what happened. None of us really know what happened, but it picked up this like rubber burnt tire flavor. It was really bizarre. I've never
Hard to
seen
put
it
that on
before.
a can and say rubber burnt tire for
Yeah.
or buy it.
Yeah.
So it's terrible if you'd have done
Call out like Fast and the Furious or something.
You probably would have sold it out. All right, what's next?
So what's next?
We got a lot to cover here.
So what's next is Sleep Now on the Fire. It's a triple hazy IPA.
Is it going to be smoky?
It's not going to be smoked.
Okay, because from the can I was thinking campfire, but
Yeah, so it's like boom, right? It's a lot. It's a juice bomb, and so
juice bomb.
Let's go.
and the other thing is obviously like our menu always rotates, right?
Yeah.
So we always try to keep an eye with our
good.
designs and our labels, what works to create a cool color palette. So like we dropped this one, Time to Pretend, and then we dropped Sleep Now on the Fire. And as like cans go, you got super vibrant color, then you got black and orange.
Yeah,
So like we try to balance. that
Artwork's
all out.
amazing.
yeah.
So, but this is I also really, really like this one. And this is actually a fun beer for us to kind of talk about a process.
That's a 9.6%.
9.6, but it doesn't
Yeah, it
drink
is.
like it.
That's good.
You take a 4-pack whole and drink 4 of these. I promise you'll have a bad headache the next day.
Unless you take an IV.
Unless you take an IV, which you already did.
before.
Right? Yeah.
Wow, that's There's no way that's 9%.
9.6.
Almost 10.
Yep, 9.6.
That's amazing.
You like this one?
So this is my least favorite out of all of them.
It's got bitterness to it.
Yeah, it's more hoppy.
So it's got 2 American hops in there. It's got Simcoe and Eldorado. Both of those are traditional West Coast hops.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't like it.
You're not a West Coast guy.
He's East Coast.
East Coast.
Well, I thought if it was IPA, it was only like kind of like you said with bourbon.
Yeah.
That's all of them were
Yeah.
the same.
The West Coast IPAs are the like.
But you like that.
Yeah, I mean, but I like these better, to be honest with you. I mean, like, you get in some of the palate wreckers and stuff like that out there, it'll literally break your palate.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why it's called palate record.
Yeah. But anyways.
Now, our last triple was called, before this, was called Amen Corner, partnered with our Masters deal. It was Citra and Motueka, and it was just vibrant, juicy citrus and lime. You would love that one. But again, since we do so many releases,
Sold
we'll do
out.
one that's, sold out.
Can't get it.
Yeah. But, we do so many releases. We'll do a more danky, bitter, resident.
Some people, this is their,
Right.
they don't like those.
But if you love this, so there's the only issue, right? If you love this, you have
better
to
buy
buy
2
it now.
cases.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Now, will you remake it again at some point, or once it's gone forever?
Who never know? You never know.
So now when people come,
that's the fun of
That's cool.
that's a big fun part of like craft beers and local breweries is that it's always something different.
Well, you want to make ultra, you can always get a make ultra. You want this,
Big
you make
Ultra gives me a headache. I'd rather drink water.
I also don't even have enough peacherine left to even make this one again. And so the next time I can get peacherine at earliest is next summer.
you have to say that.
You better go buy a 4-pack.
Yeah. Now, so for the viewers or people to know informational.
Yeah.
Because we had some people in Colorado, like they go, in Colorado, there's all
Other brewery scenes.
Yeah. Now, do you like put stuff in cans there, or people can buy cans?
You mean a growler,
or like what do they? Like if I go to the social project, how do I buy that?
So we've got them in 4-packs of 16-ounce cans. And then you can also do mix for too. So you say, there's 4 IPAs. I want to get one of each.
Okay.
Take it home.
You fill a growler though?
We can fill a growler.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a few growlers at home.
There you go.
Shocker.
Any growler, any size, any brand will have.
All
to
right,
fill
so
it.
before we get too far down,
Yep.
there's a beer that you did last year, or maybe it was
2 years ago.
2 years ago. It was a Christmas beer. It was in November. It reminded me of the last snow. Are you familiar with the last snow out of South Florida?
Maybe was it a barrel aged stout?
Yeah,
What's that one?
is that it? And
Yeah.
it
was
is
funny.
like Christmas in a can.
It's dark almond joy.
Yes.
Yep, that's this one. We'll
It's
get to
here.
that.
This is
Yeah,
the one
it's
he
here.
said he's about out of.
Yeah.
Now, can't those style is that just really hard to make to duplicate that again, or?
No, so actually Savoy Truffle was so well received and we loved it so much that it's become an annual thing. But what we're doing is we're doing little riffs on it. So and it's our like Black Friday release. So that's what we want people to get in their thing. Hey, every year we're going to drop a Savoy Truffle on Black Friday. So this past year it was double Savoy. So we actually doubled the coconut in it and doubled the almond.
See, I missed it, so I can't believe it's sitting here on the table right now.
Rob's salad.
That's an empty bottle. There's nothing for you to drink.
Bullshit. you can edit that out.
He'll bottle chug the dregs. All right.
Yeah, I'm taking that one home, or it might not make it.
So this year, we're trying to play out, do you add coffee to it? Do you finish it? Maybe a second finishing in rum barrels. There's all sorts of different things
I like
we
the
can
rum
do.
barrel.
I mean, we got 10 different varieties listed up of what we can do.
And how many bottles of that will you make and then it go?
150-ish. That's about it.
Yeah.
No.
It's one of those. You just have
Yeah.
to get them.
It's like
They're
finding
single
a
barrel.
bottle of Dram, from High West. It's
I
you
bet.
open it during the holidays,
Yep.
you enjoy it.
But I remember before I introduced you guys to this place, because you also had the chocolate one. There's a
Barrel aged?
Yeah, that was like the one that came in like a dessert, almost like drinking.
Yeah. So I mean, our first couple of barrel aged, we went very simple. It was like just vanilla or just chocolate or whatever. So we had a couple of those.
Poured it over ice cream, like incredible.
Yeah. I think that was actually the apple brandy one. I think is what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure it was because that was our first barrel aged release because they were smaller barrels.
Okay.
We actually aged them in the local RG Macon apple brandy barrels. So it's a local apple brandy brand, and we aged in those barrels, and it gave like a very sweet flavor, but it was fun.
It was very good.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep on rolling because I want to get to that good stuff.
So palate
Because this
cleanser.
other stuff's not good.
No, but that down there, that's Christmas in a can.
Palate cleanser.
I think you only had enough for me and Matt, though. He said.
This is our Czech Pilsner. So when I say we only have one beer year-round, Rivers and Roads, what we do is we have at least one of 3 lagers. We rotate between our Czech Pils, our Socialite, which is our light lager, and then our Despacito,
Now, are you gonna
which
like
is our
this one?
Mexican lager.
Probably.
You think so?
I hope you do.
So
it's
what type
my
of
favorite
lager
beer
is
that we
this?
make. This is my favorite beer that we make.
Really?
It is a true, authentic Czech style Pilsner. Obviously, it's not an authentic Czech because it's not brewed in the Czech Republic.
When the brewmaster tells you it's his favorite, you better like it, Rob.
Well, and I'm not the brewmaster. I'm just the business guy. But
Yeah, I don't like this. This is not me.
it is a bready, biscuity, spicy hop lager. We actually match our water profile to the water profile in Pilsen, Czech Republic, where this comes from.
To me, this is light beer. You're out to lunch having some tacos or whatever, and you order one of these.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because we have, we'll have a bunch of friends from different breweries come in town. That's what they're going to drink.
It's light. Like
Yeah.
you could have a
What
few.
was it, 5.2?
5.2.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of went from an IPA to a light.
Well, the problem is we should have started with that.
Yeah. Well,
The flavor and those.
Yeah, this is like drinking water. Right?
it's a palate cleanser because
Yeah.
we're about to get into something totally different.
So he's got this set up on.
He did it on purpose.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I
I can't wait. Now, can we talk about explain sours? Because
we're going to sours.
Well, we got 2 different sours.
Okay.
but sours.
But this isn't going to drink as sour.
See, I'm not a big.
Is this the Delta?
I don't care.
Do you like
for
pina
sours.
coladas?
Yes.
This is a pina colada in a can.
Okay.
I've had this is what I was talking about before with the pineapple and coconut.
Right.
Yeah.
And you go, wait till you try this.
Okay.
Well,
I'm excited.
we at the camera right here. Yeah, look at this.
Ooh, yeah.
Look how
Look at the
thick that
color.
is,
Whoa.
right?
Looks like a milkshake.
Yeah. So it's 40% fruit that's in here. Well, I don't know if coconut's technically a fruit, but if coconut's a fruit, it's 40% fruit. But yeah, I just wanted to pour that to kind
And
of
you know
show
he
it out.
likes this because look at his pour.
And you can see like you got all these little
She's
particles
thick.
in there from the coconut cream. Yeah. So we actually
This is
brew
going to be polarizing. You're going to either love this or
Oh
hate
my
this.
gosh.
I don't think you'll
It
hate
smells
He's
amazing.
like, I don't think you'll hate it.
I love this. This is.
So you've had this?
I've had similar type things before. You've done some other stuff like this.
Yes. So this is the Tide series. So anything that's pina colada, coconut, pineapple.
This is insane.
It smells like vacation.
Yeah. I feel like you're going to think you're on the beach right now.
This is a beer.
We need some of this to put on the Midnight Expresses.
I mean, it's. You go. How can I be drinking a beer that tastes like this?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So good.
Isn't that amazing?
I guess you consider it a beer, but is it really a beer?
I mean, technically. But
Slushy
is it?
sour.
I don't know. Here's the deal. They're
If you
so
put this
good.
thing in my slushy machine, get it real cold.
You pour that over like the Sonic Ice and give it to the girls, they'll drink it all day long.
But anybody that doesn't like beer, like my wife's not a beer fan.
Oh, they'll
Pour
all
that.
like that. Yeah, just pour it and they wouldn't even know.
It's so good.
Yeah.
We might need some of this for the pool party tomorrow.
Well, there was even so we did 1 or 2 here or there, and I'm like, do I want to be known for this, right? It's not really beer, even though it is, but it's so good. And you can make really good beer and also make this, whether it's beer or not, doesn't matter. It tastes amazing.
But here's the great thing, because
you're
all
happy.
our wives really don't drink a lot of beer. Like Carrie will have beer, but like Angie, Emily, they won't drink beer. We come to your place and I could be like, drink that.
But the other piece too is when the connotation of sours thinks of like Sour Patch Kids and stuff, and
I'm
I
not
don't,
a
I don't
sour
like
beer.
those at all.
yeah.
And you go, all right, I may be turned off by that.
No, that's
and you
amazing.
taste it, and you go, it is so good.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think if it didn't have it has a little sour in it.
Like a
I think if it didn't have it, it would be
sweet.
too sweet.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you
No,
could,
I agree.
You could drink 1 cup
Yeah.
and you'd be like, I just feel like I had a milkshake. And that you don't.
Not a
It's-
single
it,
one
like,
of those.
It has the taste of like dessert. But,
That's a home
But
run.
it doesn't make you feel sick.
Yeah.
Like it's not all sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's
a
so
home
good.
run.
I mean, every single one of those 4 fruits is coconut, pineapple, peach, mango. They're all very heavy on the sugars.
but
Right?
when you taste all of the fruit in there, there's no bullshit.
Well, it's
like
all
you-
real fruit.
Yeah.
We don't Yeah, we don't mess around. So
Now, you always have this, or is this?
no, but here's the deal. So we've definitely gotten in the rhythm of we will always have a slushy on.
Yeah.
So
And that's a great name because it actually describes it really well. Is this? It's not a sour; it's a slushy sour.
Yep.
Raw.
Like
yeah, we actually brew at 8% base,
we get in the
and by the time you add all that fruit, you get to 5. So
this is
yeah.
I'm loving it.
Now, don't ask me the calorie count. You don't want
Oh no, I'm
But, yeah,
sure this is. I mean, it's like having
It's like going to Jamba Juice.
Well,
any dinner right there.
Yeah, any
All the fruit and
any
sugar,
alcohol.
but that's amazing.
So this is
I'm
something.
just gonna have a little nipper.
I think we killed the can on that one, right?
I mean, we might as well.
There's just a little bit in there for you, Rob.
And
Cheers, y'all.
You
Cheers.
By the way, you do so you do a lot of other flavors like this. So what else have you done in the past in this?
Yeah, so of the Tide slushies, we've done just coconut pineapple. We've done coconut pineapple and raspberry, which is called Rising Tide. That's definitely been our top slushie.
Yeah, that sounds.
But I think this might give it a run for the money. We've also done non-Tide ones. So one thing about us, there are other breweries in the United States that are definitely known for their slushies, other ones that make really good ones.
I've never
And
had one before.
I haven't either.
They don't really show up here. It's kind of it's a hit or miss
Is it
depending on what
new?
you know.
To the beer scene?
2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which kind of? Which,
Yeah, kind of.
The
Yeah.
19 to 23 was a blur.
Yeah.
Yeah. But part of this, you got to keep it cold.
Yeah.
And it needs to be,
super
it doesn't have to be fresh, but it doesn't have to, you don't necessarily want it to it's fresh fruit, right?
Right.
So now it's aseptic, so it's not going to be like go
What's the
bad.
content in this?
It's 5% alcohol. So we brew at 8% base. We add enough fruit that it's basically 40% of what's in there, so it cuts it down to like 5%.
Would it be
Which is perfect. Perfect.
Would it be a sin to pour that over a big cup of ice?
No.
I
I
thought you
can
were
do
gonna
whatever.
say
I thought
ice
that's
cream.
ice cream.
I did too.
Yeah.
No, but big cup of ice, pour
No.
that over and like
So this next one over ice is insane. Because this next one, when you try it, it's going to have a little bit of sourness, right? A little bit of tartness.
Okay.
But when you pour it over ice, it's literally like drinking lemonade. So you don't even really feel like it's alcohol anymore.
and I could come in tomorrow and pick up a few of these cans.
I grabbed all this out of our cooler today. So outside of the barrel aged stouts, those came from my
Personal.
How much of the slushy do you still have before it's sold out?
We just dropped it today.
Okay.
At 1 p.m.
Oh, perfect.
So it'll last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We got
Not after Rob stops in tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Maybe a
I'm gonna
week and a
check
half
some
after
out.
Rob
Red
goes
Dead.
in.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's
solid.
And to your point, the women who don't like beer will love it.
100%.
Well,
Full
yeah,
side,
it's not
the sun's
so-
out,
it's
not- On the boat?
On the boat.
It's not such high alcohol content either, where they don't like it because it's
Well, what I also think is funny, because you say girls, but I also, you get the like old school guys that are like, I only drink German lagers. And that's it.
and then they try.
And then they try this, and they're like, I don't know if that's beer, but that's really damn good.
You asked
That's what all of us do. It's like we're all wired that way.
I mean,
Like, should I like this? Because maybe I shouldn't tell anyone, but I do.
I mean, you might kick me on their table, but I might even put a little Vaki floater on top of that.
People literally, we got a lot of customers that talk about taking it home, pouring it in a glass over a shot of rum.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Would be good.
It's a pina colada.
great.
You got a
I'm
rum
guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, look at the color on that.
Yeah. So this is Electric Feel. I think another MGMT song, actually. I guess I kind of like that.
Yeah.
So it's like a pinkish red color. So we brew our regular sour base for that beer. We then add a crap ton of Country Time lemonade powder. So where most of our sours or anything, and what you talk about when you're like, it actually tastes like coconut, well, we use real fruit. We only use real fruit. However, when we're doing a lemonade beer, we're like, lemonade to people is Country Time, right? Or that kind of like, very rarely do you get because real lemonade's way more like aggressively tart.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then there's raspberry in there.
Sour.
Yes.
Yes.
Not
Not
Like a
super
sweet
sour.
tart.
Right.
But for the sour drinker, it's really good because it's got the sour, it's got the tart, it's got the sweet.
it tastes like lemonade.
And you put it over ice, and the sour part goes completely away. Completely away. And it was funny because somebody came in. I'm like, I'm not pouring beer over ice. You're crazy. But just try it. And I went home and tried it. I was like, dang. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's also fantastic.
Yeah.
But again, going back to what I said earlier, anything on your can that says it tastes like this, it actually tastes
it really does.
which is really interesting.
Which a lot of times you could go into a brewery, right? And you're like, oh, the chocolate milk stout, campfire.
go, I don't get any of it.
And I'm like, tastes like Bud Light. Nothing against Bud Light.
No.
Or maybe there is. But regardless, we're not going to get into that. But, like, yeah. And this is why you're going to go to the Socials Project. Right?
What's it called? I think he said the Socialist Project. The Socialist? No.
He's slurring over. Hey, Rob, I'll have your share.
Oh, no, you're going to Chris.
No.
Cut off.
No, it's fine.
So
Are there arms on that chair?
one thing I will say too.
I've been known to pass out. So.
Oh, you're good.
If I
You're
fall
good.
that
All right.
way, it's not
That's
that
why
I'm
you're a
trying to
permanent
like
guest and not the host, right?
Well played.
So one thing is these beers have been warming up a little bit as we've been talking. The colder it is, the less that sour comes across. So it would be a little less sour if it was like super fresh off the line.
Now, for the viewers, you could actually serve a beer too cold, correct? Like you don't want it too cold.
Sure.
No, and you could disagree. I
disagree.
I
Well,
thought
I
like
mean-
certain craft beers, you don't want them at 37 degrees.
So here's my thing.
Or
Okay.
maybe I'm wrong.
No,
Maybe
you're right. There's a lot of
Put him in
beers.
his place.
There's a lot of beers. A lot of people put on their barrel-aged stouts. You need to drink between 48 and 54 degrees. Give a crap what you do. Whatever you like is good.
Okay.
Now, yes. I mean, do you want to put it like almost freezing but not? No. So the colder beer gets past maybe like once you get down to the like 33, 32, 31, you'll even see some of those places that's like super cold beer,
Yeah.
like 28 degree cold. Well, so all the like bitter, astringent notes get completely buried.
Right.
So on your light beers or your easy drinking lagers for people that like drink just like the easy drinking stuff, it gets way more palpable in the same way that like with a bourbon or a scotch, like a Johnny Walker is very smooth. They do things to smooth it out. So you would lose some of the overall robustness of a beer if it was at 30 degrees. But any of your fridge temperature, we serve at 36 degrees.
Okay.
We were actually at 38. We cut it back. There's no difference from like a flavor standpoint, but that 2 degree difference makes a big difference for our line perspective. We have less loss in, you get more foam that shows up. So that's one of those things I learned. I had no draft line experience when I opened the brewery, and it was a whole process of figuring that out and what worked for us. And it's both like a restriction deal plus temperature plus also like if you stack a keg, then you have to dial it in because on the floor and up, it's also a high temperature
in there too. Yeah.
Pretty crazy. All things you learn.
Chris, the other thing I like about this is there's a beer for everybody. So when I've been to other breweries, everything tastes similar.
Yeah.
Like you can go in with 6 or 7 people that don't like certain things, and everybody can find something that they like, which I love because that's great for business.
Yeah. And if you've got a friend that just won't drink beer and won't even try it, we've got wine, we've got like pre-canned cocktails like gin and tonics and vodka spritzes and those kind of things. So we have those options. Yeah, you've got your traditionalist, you've got your like trendy hazies, and then your sours that really bring in people that don't like beer. I mean, my wife didn't ever like beer, and Southern Grist got her to love beer because she loved their sours. And so she drinks our sours. She loves our sours. She's even now finally getting to the point where she occasionally likes a hazy IPA. Not all of them. She'd be like you, because she wouldn't like either of these, but she liked Rivers. The really vibrant, juicy citrus ones is what she likes. She don't want to taste a splash of bitterness. It's not for her. Whereas I'm like, the more bitter, the better. So
what is the bee that's on all of your logo?
yeah. So
That's a dumb question, but it's on all of your.
that is our logo. So I'll just do that.
Where did it come from?
I'll do what I was taught in my 10-year career as sales of the 2-minute elevator speech. Shelley Simpson at JB Hunt taught me that right off the bat. So
Shout out to JB Hunt.
there you go. Yeah. So we wanted our logo to be pretty simplistic. It's actually funny. We went through a bunch of different varieties. And one thing I never specifically necessarily wanted was a hop. because so many breweries force hops into their logo, and I think it kind of looked cheesy. But when this got added, it just looked right. So
the bottom of the B is a hop.
Is a hop.
I didn't know that either.
But we're a social project, right? So it's kind of twofold. We do things to give back, like host bourbon tastings that raise funds. We do, like, I think it'll be in September. Every year we do 100% of the proceeds go back to the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation. That's called Rising Hope. So a bunch of different things like that. The other thing is our tap rooms are set up to basically operate as a semi-de facto community center, right? Like when you're there, we want you to feel like family, feel home, find new friends, feel comfortable there. If you come in by yourself, that's totally okay. Pull up a seat at the bar. I also think like our culture today is so toxic online, right? Like we don't know. I don't know what any of y'all believe politically. I don't quite frankly, I don't care. But the thing is, I've seen it happen where people end up having political conversations and they're two totally separate, opposite people. You know what? They end up being friends. Yeah. And they talk to each other at the bar all the time. They hang out. Some of them end up hanging out outside of the brewery. And the thing is, like, if those two people met online, like, they'd be violently, like, attacking each other. And I just think, like, our culture in a lot of ways has lost that. And this is one of those few last disputes where you can actually sit down and realize, like, we're actually all very similar. Yeah. And, like, that really doesn't matter.
We are. Yeah, everyone is, but we're
also both good people. We're both good people, right? Yeah. So that all figured into that.
That's awesome.
But the wings, without being overly exaggerated, are diamonds for the Diamond States. For the Diamond State. There's no states. And people never notice it until I point it out. And once I point it out, you're like, oh, okay. Cool. We wanted to be somewhat subdued in that. But yeah. And then it's very geometric. Our spot in Bentonville is very geometric. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a pentagon, but where the bottom side actually comes in. Yeah. And so we always play those geometrics. Obviously, the honeycomb with the bee and everything. I mean, it's here. Yeah, this is a chessboard, by the way. Yeah. This is a chessboard. So these are chess pieces.
So it is.
Yeah. But it's a honeycomb chessboard. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we try to have fun with stuff, play off the geometric as much as we can. So
I don't want Rob to tackle you, but I think he wants to.
Yeah, about that Christmas.
Yes, you want to pour these.
I don't want Rob to tackle you.
I feel like these are
all right. So while we're pouring those,
you can see how thick it is.
It also seems like, if we do follow you on social media, which I do, right? You got some cool events coming up as well too.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Like you got some really well-known food trucks or food coming.
So
I like some lobster rolls.
We do, yeah. So well, first of all, most weekends now we have El Chefe, which was actually our permanent truck for about a year.
Okay.
And then he opened his own spot at the Springdale Airport.
Okay.
But he's just getting a spot where he can start getting back out in his truck. Best Mexican food, best birria in Arkansas. He's California through and through, and his food is out of this world. But yes, we brought in Cousin's Maine Lobster.
That's coming up.
And it's coming up again beginning of August. This first Sunday in August, I think. It's like the 4th or 5th or 6th or 7th or whatever date that is.
You should try to get this
It was there once before, right?
It was there once before. It was insane. We're definitely... So I'm big about our presentation, right? With our beer, I want everything to be right from what glass it goes in, everything. However, so I'm big about using glasses. However... We had 5 people washing glasses nonstop to keep up, so we are doing plastic cups this time. Because I think we sold something like 1,000 beers on a Wednesday night, draft beers, and we don't have anywhere. I mean, we were pulling glasses out of our butt. I don't even know where they came from. We're like, where is a glass? Where is a glass?
I don't
know. Who's got an empty glass?
Just pass the cans and
tasters.
No, not yet.
This is
Christmas.
I had it 2 years ago, though, and it was amazing.
This is what Matt and I got rolling on at your event prior to the event starting.
So we
had it on draft at that event.
I'm telling you. And I'm like,
I bought the first year membership with Josh.
Yeah.
Josh watched us have this, and then he came in for the kill.
I remember that's when I got your American Express card.
Yeah.
Just build it. This is the reason.
Are you the 7 course?
Oh, of course. And a locker. But I did talk you into a locker that night. I was like, I'm not going to get the membership unless I get a locker.
You good? Yeah.
Emily was like, yeah, done.
No. Yeah.
All because of this.
Look, this is amazing.
I think we need to get him to do a special deal for the year's charity thing.
Oh, yeah.
Or for the charity. Yeah, we could probably work something out.
Some kind of...
Again, these are single barrels. We pick a barrel... And so that's the thing, right?
That's
so
would be cool. Like
you
it's
can
like,
blend barrels, but what we do and why we have so little bottles,
so good at it.
we pick a barrel, and based on what all notes are in that barrel, that's how we decide to not brew. That's how we decide to add the adjuncts, because all the like coconut, chocolate, that's added after it's barrel aged. So we find a barrel that we pick, and then we say what would go good with this, and then that's how we do it. So this is in a willet barrel. Willet barrels are very fudgy. Every willet barrel I've ever had is straight fudge.
Yeah, this is extremely fudgy.
Yeah, it's amazing.
This is next level.
We didn't have to add that much cacao, honestly, to it. So there's Kaya. So also we're real big on using like as much local stuff as we can get that makes sense. So like we've got Kaya chocolate nibs in there. Now coconut. There's no local coconut. And then we use
That would be impressive.
we use what's called Marcona almonds, which is like the luxurious almond. But it's got a lot more almond flavor than regular almonds. Which
Dad, this isn't available at the store. You took this out of your personal collection.
This is Black Friday.
this is actually my last bottle. I'm done
Black
after
Friday.
this.
Well, I was just going to offer you a locker at my personal home bar, but
Oh, okay.
since this
That's
is your
fair
last bottle, I guess.
What's the alcohol content of this?
13? 12? 12. 12.
That's a big.
Doesn't taste like it though.
No.
It tastes like dessert.
That's why you and I acted like 12-year-olds at his event. That
It's also really good over ice cream.
Yeah, I could see that if you blended some ice cream up with this.
That's amazing.
that's
So I have another one of those, which is really cool. So these are some guys I know from my time in Nashville that were part of the whiskey house there. They actually started a bourbon and rye company. They also do some really good barrel aged rum called Nashville Barrel Company. I don't know if y'all have ever experienced
Yeah, sure.
that. In fact, I have one of their original. I don't have any of their bourbon, but I had some of their rye whiskey.
That's an old bottle too.
That's their original bottle. Yeah, it's actually like theirs, right? Before they really even did anything outside. I think that's one of their. Pretty sure that's one of the first like 10 batches or single barrels. So I reached out. I was like, "Hey, we're building a program of like barrel aged stuff. I would love to get some of your barrels." He was like, "Cool, just pay for shipping. I'll send them your way." Didn't charge me anything for the barrels. It was really cool. He's like, "Just send me back some bottles when they're done." And so that's what we've done. Yeah. So, and these are all MGP barrels. I think they have some of their own juice that's developing, but they're two like master distillers used to run like a store pick brand. They have probably, if not the best, top 10 pallets in the United States. So the MGP they source, that's why it's so good, because of what they sourced, and obviously they're going to make great stuff too. They pick some incredible rum too. But anyways, I brought that because this was aged in there. And then this is called Goo Goo for Nash Vegas. Really only nobody here locally, unless they lived in Nashville, would really understand. But Nash Vegas is like the nickname because it's like kind of crazy like Vegas on Broadway.
Yep.
Goo Goo is after the Goo Goo cluster, which has been made over 100 years in Nashville. So what it is it's marshmallow nugget, caramel, peanuts, and then enrobed in chocolate. So this has all of that in there.
And it's
and then it's aged in a Nashville whiskey.
This is gonna kill the other one that we just
This
had.
is not made by you or made by you.
We make this, but instead of willet barrel, it was aged in the Nashville bourbon
okay.
barrel.
So now, when do you have this in store?
No. Oh, there are 3 bottles of this at Guess Who. I just saw it yesterday. That's how I know. There's 3 bottles of this at Guess Who.
We may be making a stop.
pick them up.
There may be 0 bottles by the time you post this episode.
Oh yeah, look at that
They
color.
probably will be.
And these are definitely warmed up, so when you talk about temperature, I mean, generally
I
barrel
don't
aged
mind
stouts.
this stuff a little warmer.
No, and you're not too worried about carbonate. So these are very heavy. They're great to share with friends. We do the 500 milliliter bottles because it's easy to share, but it's also not so much that you can't drink it by yourself. Like a 750 is too much.
You smell this?
Yeah.
But you can take one of those wine things, right? Your wine stopper, and pump it, and you need almost no carb for it to still taste good. So you can open this, drink half of it, put it in like a wine fridge overnight, and then drink it the next night, and it'll still be really good.
Tell me the ingredients one more time. I'm tasting all of them at the same time.
Marshmallow.
I definitely did the marshmallow. Oh, wow.
What was it? Caramel? Yeah, marshmallow, caramel.
It tastes just like a Goo Goo.
Kaya cacao nibs and peanuts.
Have you had one?
Well, you should have come to
We just
Nashville.
go by against you and go get these bottles.
Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. So, like, we ordered, I think, like 200 Goo Goo clusters when we released this.
You're sitting there.
And we had them there. And so people were eating the Goo Goo cluster and drinking that because most of them never had it.
It's amazing.
I like this one a lot.
As much as you loved the last one.
No,
They're different, though.
Depends on how much you like. You get that umami peanut
Yeah, I taste the peanut. And the more
versus super sweet coconut. It just depends on what you want.
Now, so you will make that and carry that when?
I will probably never make this one again.
There's only 3 of them, I guess.
But
You're going to go.
what's really cool is I think this is our next barrel-aged stout.
Ooh.
So this is a store pick Elijah Craig barrel proof from River Point in Fort Smith. We got this barrel. I have this barrel.
Oh, nice.
I think
You
it's,
guys remember the last when we did the bourbon tasting with Russ? You guys loved the Elijah Craig barrel.
I think it's 22 months barrel aged at this point, our stout. So we've had it in there almost 2 years. And I think that's the next one that we're going to do. We're just trying to figure out what we're going to adjunct it with. But the barrel's so good that we're not going to do much. Maybe just vanilla, just chocolate, something like that.
This was so good.
Oh, there's so many different flavors in this.
It's like a whole
It's
mouthful.
like you're
of taste.
eating a Goo Goo cluster. Like you get all from the peanut to the marshmallow to the chocolate.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Like, you're catching everything.
But you're right. If this was super cold, I think it would be even better.
You would lose some of the like
you
booziness.
lose some.
You don't necessarily lose the flavors, but you lose some of that heat. That heat that you're getting almost as if it was like a bourbon would kind of go away.
It's good.
Be a
like
little-
it is.
I kind of like the heat.
It's almost like a good slice of pizza. Once it cools off a little bit, you could almost enjoy it a little bit more.
Had to go back to the pizza.
That's solid.
I would
Might be getting hungry.
I would love a slice of pizza right now.
Yeah, a slice of pepperoni would be amazing right now.
That was amazing. Chris, thanks for having us on. Having you on.
Thanks for having us.
Chris. Thanks for having us on. Thanks for having us on your podcast.
You're gonna be
Thanks for bringing us in.
Thanks for having us.
you're gonna be the second permanent guest next
Yeah,
week.
wow, I'm out. Next time. Next podcast, I'm going to put Josh and Rob on the other 5 because you can't be over here anymore because you can't hold it together.
That was a lot, and I'm feeling wonderful. But it was great having you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's
great
Favorite
being here.
brewery in town.
amazing lineup.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
the Social Project
Yes, sir.
in Bentonville
Yep.
and in Springdale.
Yep.
and available at Macadoodles and local,
Yep. Liquor World. Guess who?
Yep. which is huge because you can go anywhere and buy it.
For Spirit too, if you're like South Fayetteville. Yeah. That's the 4 liquor stores locally.
And that's what's so nice is like you can pick it. And I learned today that I like IPAs.
I learned today.
Certain IPAs, not West Coast.
Not West Coast, but most of theirs.
This is amazing.
I learned today that we're going to Guess Who on the way home, getting the last 3 bottles of the Goo Goo Dolls.
You might be going to
do
go too. I don't know if I can make it there.
Yeah, we need an Uber for you. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, but that we need to go get.
Yeah,
100%.
I'll get you a bottle.
Please.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Love it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It was fun.